All right, good morning. Morning. How is everyone doing? Karibuni sana. Hope you're all well. This beautiful 27th day of February 2025. Glad that you could join us this beautiful morning. Hope you've had a good morning and a good start to your day this day. And hopefully, you've had a good time on the chats and in everything else that you have been up to this week. But we're really happy that you could join us. So, for the sake of guys who are here for the first time, John Bogo is my name. I'm a trader with Afriforex. Afriforex is a trading unit. So we do have the rest of the team here. So in case you do have any questions, feel free to ask them. Of course, on the chat box, the team will get back to you, but I will also be looking at the questions in the chat box as well, but towards the very tail end of this session. But you don't really need to wait until the very end. You still can ask even as we do continue progressing on. And of course, for the guys who are joining us here on live, at least you do have that provision. For the guys who are going to be watching this later on, then at least you can leave your comments in the comment section, and we'll definitely get back to you in due course. Also, remember to give us a like and a subscribe. That does help our channel a lot. So we're going to jump straight into it. So we'll start off by looking at the watch list, which is where we start off every morning. So you can see the watch list right there for today. Couple of changes in comparison to what we had yesterday. So you can see the euro and the New Zealand dollar have joined the sell side of things. We do have the Canadian dollar coming into the buy side. So we'll do a brief recap of the currency pairs that we had yesterday that unfortunately did not make it to our watch list. So we'll start off with the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. So for this one, yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some buys. You can see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out. Also a fourth level. There was an additional level somewhere within here that we're expecting maybe to get the market bouncing off this region to the upside, coming back in, potentially getting some buying opportunities. You can see that in the morning price was here. It did come down, tapped within this area, even broke beneath it to the downside. But unfortunately, when the market came back within here, we just couldn't get the price holding above that region to the upside. Then, like we always keep on pointing out, when the market breaks the aggressive area, either to the downside or to the upside, then at that point in time, definitely no buying or selling opportunities for us. So I guess that was the case on the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar yesterday. So the next one, this is the euro against the US dollar. So for this one, yesterday, we were trying to see whether we could get some buys as well. You can't see what the game plan was. So in the morning, price was somewhere within this region here, and we're expecting price to possibly move to the upside or possibly fast up within here before moving to the upside. Unfortunately, price first went up. Then you can see that it came back in. And if you look at the times, this was at exactly 4 moving into 5:30. The times that we keep on pointing out where you should be watching out for opportunities. And that's when the big boys did actually come in. And you can see that the buying opportunities took off during the US session. Of course, you did need to manage your trade somewhere within here. Mitch had pointed out that region right there. And you can see that off that region, the market has reacted quite aggressively. And unfortunately, moving into today, not really a currency pair that we will be trying to see whether we can trade. So the next one, this is the Great British Pound against the Canadian dollar. So for this one yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out and also some illustrations of what to expect. So in the morning price was somewhere here. We're expecting a breach to the upside and a hold. Can see that the market did actually break to the upside. Of course, to read this hold, it's not the clearest on the 15-minute time frame, but you did need to read it on a smaller time frame. So you can see that at exactly 4, the market did actually start its push to the upside, picked up a bit more momentum much later on before the sellers did actually react off that region to the downside. So this one did work out also during the US session, just like the euro against the US dollar. But unfortunately, moving into today, not a currency pair that we will be trying to see whether we can trade. So the next one, this is the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. So for this one yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some selling opportunities. You can see the three areas that had been pointed out. So, and of course, a fourth area somewhere within here. We're expecting price to tap in within here. Unfortunately, price couldn't. Guess this price was good enough for the sellers. You can see there was an attempt during the the London session. Price came back in during the US session, just came shy of that area there. But I guess this was some sort of incitement. Maybe the buyers were really trying to push the market to the upside, but I guess the sellers within here were able to contain them and push the market to the downside. Not the clearest of selling opportunities, because we did want to see the market make lower lows and lower highs. But of course, maybe some very small selling opportunities within there, but of course not the clearest. And of course, moving into today, unfortunately, not a currency pair that we will be trying to see whether we can trade. So the next one, the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one yesterday, also trying to see whether we could get some selling opportunities. You can't see the three areas Mitch had pointed out. Also some illustrations of what to expect. So in the morning, price was here. We're expecting possibly the market to break beneath here, or maybe just come in somewhere within this area, maybe give us some sort of a deeper pullback. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen. And looking at the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen, which did also move as much, I guess it could possibly end up being something with the Canadian dollar pairs yesterday. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. But unfortunately for us, moving into today, not really a currency pair that we'll be trying to see whether we can trade, because we could easily end up getting caught up in that sideways movement. So the next one, this is the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. So for this one, yesterday we're trying to see whether we could get some selling opportunities. So you can't see the three areas Mitch had pointed out. Also a fourth area somewhere within here that he had added where we could potentially get some selling opportunities. Unfortunately, the market couldn't pull back much. But you can't see that the market was holding within here for an extended period of time. And if you look at 4, that's when the market made a move to the downside. Not really the best of selling opportunities, because we're only looking at about 14 pips coming down. And of course, we wanted to see the market break to the downside of this area to potentially end up holding on to any selling opportunities we did get there to come down. But you can see that the market did react off here. So also not really the best of opportunities. And of course, moving into today, not really a currency pair that we'll be trying to see whether we can trade. So last but not least for review, we do have the euro against the Australian dollar. So for this one yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some buying opportunities on this one. So you can see the three areas Mitch had pointed out, illustrations of what to expect as well. So in the morning, price was somewhere here. We're expecting the pullback. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but there was a slight pullback just coming back in within this region here. And I guess the buyers within this region were able to push the market up. And I guess these were the London big boys who pushed the market off this area to the upside. Market broke above here. Some sort of a hold, but we just couldn't get past this region to the upside. So also for this one, somehow some sort of a buying opportunity, but also not really the best and the clearest of buying opportunities. So moving on into a couple of screenshots that we did get from you guys, and we're really happy to see your progress. So this is from Alvin. So he's the one who's going to be starting us off. So I can see that you did get a good buying opportunity on, or it seems like it was missed somewhere within this area here, down within this region here. I can see that there was another trade that you had somewhere here, maybe some sort of a buy that closed within there, but you missed out on this one. So can't see that this one was break even. I guess that's what you're indicating with that BE there. This one was missed, maybe due to spread, cost of precision, but could have been a very, very good buying opportunity from here going up. So it's unfortunate you didn't get it, but of course, today is another day. As long as you're on the charts, never know, maybe you could get another opportunity. So shout out to you for that and keep up the good work, Alvin. So we also did get a screenshot from Andre. So this is on the Great British Pound against the US dollar. So I can see that you got some 2 buying opportunities, one within here, market came up within there, you closed, the market pulled back, you waited, got another buy within this region here, moved up, we did once again, and you did manage your trade, you did close your trade rather somewhere within this region here, which is really good. So this is some really good trading as well, Andre. So keep up the good work, really happy to see your progress. So we did get a screenshot from Bravina as well. So this is on the silver. So this is on a selling opportunity that you did get. So I can see that you got a sell within here. Very, very good sell. Stop loss already beneath your point of entry. And it seems like you got a couple of sells within there. Stop losses, I guess, are somewhere within that region there. The market really dropped coming down. So this was some very, very good trading. So a very, very good opportunity. And of course, because I know that the pip value on silver is very high, that must have given you some very, very good returns. So shout out to you for that, Ravin, and of course, keep up the good work. So we also did get some screenshots from Dan Bickett. So this is on the NAS 100. So I can see that you got a buying opportunity on this one, somewhere within here, as the market was lifting off on that minor pullback coming in. And of course, when the market started to move up in your favor, stop loss already above your point of entry, which is very, very good. Can't see levels high up within those regions. Don't know if it's levels that you are possibly targeting, but at least it's good to see that you've already managed your trade, and you also did get a sell still on the NAS 100. So got the sell somewhere within this region here, coming down with it. Stop loss already beneath your point of entry, and I can't see that you're targeting somewhere within this area here. So it's a very good trading. Of course, some sniper entries, and you're a real cowboy on the charts, getting both buys and sells on the NAS 100. But in any case, at least you've managed your trade, and definitely seems that you made something out of it. So shout out to you for that, Dan Bickett, and keep up the good work. So we also did get, last but not least, a screenshot from Mon-Fri. So this is also on the NAS 100. So I can see that you've got a couple of selling opportunities coming down with it, which is good, and of course, well managed in terms of your trades. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe all the stop losses for all the trades that you're taking are somewhere within here, but this is some very, very good trading. So sales high up within there. Don't know how you managed to get this one within here. Maybe unless you read the story on a smaller time frame to maybe see the pullbacks and the story of what was happening within there. But at least I can't see that when the market came down, your stop losses are somewhat down within that region. So shout out to you for that, Mon-Fri, and keep up the good work. So shout out to Alvin, Andre, Bravin, Dan Bickett, Mon-Fri. You guys really did well on the charts yesterday. Remember, guys, if you do get any trades, whether good or bad, remember, you can't send them in to us. I mean, we're more than happy to see what you guys are up to. Our contact details are there in the video description. And of course, we do also have issues that you want to discuss with us. You can also use the same contact details to reach out to us, and us guys will be more than happy to hear from you and also to help you. So shifting gears into matters today. So you can see the watch list right there. So the 27th of February, you can see what the watch list is going to be. So hopefully you have taken note of that. So we will be mixing and matching up the buys versus the sells for the currency pairs. So we'll start off with the Great British Pound pairs, mix and match them up with everything on the sell side, move on down the list. Then, of course, we'll finish off with the indices and the commodities. On the fundamental front today, there's going to be quite a number of news events that are going to be happening. So you can't see that already, at least there's one for the AUDs. We've already factored that into our analysis for today. So we will be watching out to see what happens with the rest of the news events. So we do have some CHF news events coming out during the London session, especially specifically at the London market open. We'll see what happens with the CHFs. Some Euro news events as well. You can't see them there. And then, of course, moving into the US session, we do have a couple of news events. Of course, today being a Thursday, we do have the initial jobless claims that comes out every Thursday, and a handful of other USD news events that you can't see have 3 stars on them. So I guess we will also get some very, very good moves on the USD pairs. So we're going to start off with the first set of currency pairs. So we'll start off with the USDs. So we'll start off with the Great British Pound against the US dollar. So for this one, also a currency pair we had yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could have gotten some buying opportunities. And you can't see the 3 regions that Mitch had pointed out right there yesterday. So in the morning, price was here. We're expecting price to come back in, hold above here, and maybe get some sort of a buying opportunity within here. You can't see that the market fooled around for pretty much the whole of the London session. It was only during the US session that the market actually picked up to the upside. And I guess this is the trade that I think Andy did get, which was very, very good. So shout out to you for that. Of course, we did get the buys here. You did need to manage your trade within somewhere within this region here. As the market came up, can't see that there was a bit of a fight within this region right here. So for this one for today, these are the 3 areas we'll be watching out for before I get to the other blue levels. But the major levels that we're going to be watching out for are these ones right here. And hopefully you can end up taking note of them. We have the market pulling back, and we don't know how far the pullback is going to come in, but we're hoping that maybe it comes back in somewhere within this region. If it does, I guess then we'll be in some sort of a range within this area here. So if you get the buy somewhere within here, definitely you will need to manage your trade somewhere within this region. So watch out for that. So also watch out for the region at the bottom in case the market finds its way there. Also be ready for that. Now, the reason why we have these 2 other levels here, these are more or less like bonus levels. I mean, in case the market breaks to the upside, then at least we know where we will be heading with this. there's a possibility this could be a probe, especially considering the fact that the market went up, came back in, it's holding to the downside of this region here. But at least if we do get the buys, let's say somewhere within here, but if we get the market coming back in, holding above this region, then definitely you will need to watch out for somewhere within this region right here. There is some sort of a level there that you'll need to watch out for. But at least if we do clear that region, maybe we could potentially end up getting all the way up to within that region at the top. But ideally right now, the main area of interest should definitely be somewhere within here, because price is holding between these two levels right here. So let's wait and see what happens on that. Remember the red SNR, in case the market breaks and holds beneath that region to the downside, then unfortunately, at that point in time, there will be no trade for us. So the next one, this is the US dollar against Japanese yen. So for this one yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some sells. And you can see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out, also an illustration of what to expect. So in the morning, price was here, it held around here and hovered around this region right here, went to the upside, which is what we wanted to see. When the market came down, unfortunately, we couldn't get much of a hold within here. But consider the market broke to the downside and really came in quite aggressively all the way, tapping back within this region right here. So for this one for today, the levels are the same. So price hasn't really moved far and beyond the areas that we were watching out for yesterday. In as much as there was an aggressive push to the downside, right now the market is pulling back within here. Maybe could be because when the market broke to the downside, there wasn't a proper pullback, within this region. So there's a possibility price could still tap back in within this area right here. And I'm thinking if that does end up being the case and it ends up being a retest, I think we could get another selling opportunity coming down. So watch out for that. Also watch out for the times that we do keep on pointing out, 11, 4, 5:30. Potentially you could get some very good opportunities then. But also remember to watch out for the red SNR at the top. The market does go for a much deeper pullback, comes in within that red SNR. We still can watch out for selling opportunities, but remembering that in case the market breaks and holds above that region to the upside, unfortunately, there will be no trade for us. So the next one, this is the US dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some selling opportunities. So you can see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out, and also an illustration of what we were expecting to see. So in the morning, price was somewhere here. I wanted to see the market maybe come down, hold beneath this region to the downside for us to look for selling opportunities. But consider the market went up, came down, guess the bars were a bit too strong. Also based on how they had stepped up within this region here, they attempted to go up higher and they did. And you can see that the market came down. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a proper hold within here. There was a bit of a struggle, also not very, very clear. And the sellers came down, just tapped within this region, and consider the buyers did push the market to the upside. So let's see if we'll be luckier on this one today. So these are the three areas that we will be watching out for, which are pretty much the same areas that we had yesterday. The pullback has come in all the way till the top region, where we do have the main sellers who are more or less holding the market at this point in time. So we will be waiting to see what happens. So based on how the buyers have stepped up, I'm thinking they might attempt to break to the upside. Maybe that might bring in that last incitement, for the buyers and all the breakout traders who are waiting and watching out for that region there. If the market breaks to the upside, definitely lots of guys are going to be looking for buys. But at least if we get the market coming back in, and we get it coming back in quite aggressively, and we get a hold to the downside of this region, then possibly we could get some very, very good selling opportunities. So watch out for that. Watch out for the region at the bottom. Definitely you can target all the way down there, but you will definitely have to watch out for somewhere within this region here. You definitely could, run into the opposite party and they could give you some issues. So just make sure that you watch out for that. So last but not least, for the USDs, we do have the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, this is a new entrant on our watch list, and we will be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities. So these are the three areas that we will be watching out for. So hopefully you can take note of them. So the market has been coming up. You can see that there was some sort of a major reaction by the sellers of this region yesterday. The buyers are still coming up and they did push the market back within here. So we will be keenly waiting to see if we can get a reaction of the sellers within here. At least one thing we know for sure is that the sellers are definitely here. Based on the reactions, you can't see the wicks that are happening within this region. So we definitely know there are some sellers who are sitting within here. So let's wait and see what happens. Of course, we'll need to see a bit more of the story of what happens. The market could hold within here, maybe even might attempt to break to the upside. We still see, inability of the buyers to break above that region to the upside, and we get a hold. Watching out for the times, you could find a very, very good selling opportunity on this one to come down. Definitely, you could target all the way down here, but just make sure that you also watch out for this region somewhere within here, because you could run into buyers within here who could definitely give you issues. So watch out for that. Remember the red SNR, in case the market breaks and holds above that region to the upside, then unfortunately, there will be no trade for us. So that's pretty much it for the USD pairs. So we're actually mixing up the sells versus the buys. So we've mixed and matched up the USD versus everything on the buy side. So right now we're going to move on to the AUD pairs and mix and match them up with everything on the buy side. So we'll start off with the Great British Pound against the Australian dollar. So for this one yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some buying opportunities, and you can't see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out. So in the morning, price was here. It was either price to come back in within this region here or somewhere here for us to look for the buys, or maybe the market to break and hold above this region and for us to look for the buys. So the market came down, just tapped within this region. Then after that, you can see that the buyers showed up, the market went up. There was a slight hold within this area here. It's not very clear on this time frame, but definitely if you go to the 3-minute time frame, you'll definitely find, this struggle and a hold, this minor pullback coming in, the market tapping within this area here before the market actually took off to the upside. And you can see that it continued rallying up for pretty much the whole of the US session. So right now the market has tapped within this area here. And I guess there could definitely be some sellers who are holding within that region. So we will be waiting to see whether we can get a reaction, hopefully with the market to come back in and, some sort of a pullback coming in. Maybe we could find the market at least coming back within this area here. This region is definitely a region of interest, somewhere within this area, but can also see that there's this area here that also seems to be holding. The buyers have pushed themselves off this region a number of times. So even if the market doesn't come back in within here, at least let's see if we can at least get some buying opportunities somewhere within here, so that at least when the market comes up, at least we'll still end up having a good amount of pips, before we do actually end up managing our trades, as opposed to looking for the trades here. Alternatively, if we don't get the pullback coming in, what we could wait for is for a breach of this region to the upside. If the market comes back in within here, hopefully we get a nice strong breach, then at least we could try to see whether we could get some buying opportunities maybe at that point in time, maybe somewhere within here. So I guess those are the two best opportunities that you could watch out for. Looking for the buys when the market is just holding beneath that region of resistance is a bit risky. If the market breaks and holds, just above that region, you could technically look for buying opportunities, but you'll have to be very keen and very careful, because you have to read that on the smaller time frame to really see whether the buyers are really stepping in and the sellers are really giving up before you hit any buying opportunities at the top. So moving on into the next one, this is the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. So for this one, yesterday we had it for a sell. So you can't see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out. So in the morning, price was somewhere here. Wanted to see the market maybe attempt to go up, come back in. Hopefully, maybe if that did happen, we could have looked for the sales to come down. But there was also this area that we really needed to watch out for. You can see that he also did illustrate that we did need to maybe get the market coming down, maybe tap within that region to come down. So you can see that the market came down, bounced off here after it broke to the downside. And you can see that it did attempt to come down, although in a very weak manner. The buyer stepped up again, back within this same level right here before the sellers now really showed up. And this was during the US session. So for this one, for today, we're going to be watching out for these areas right here. And hopefully you can take note of them. So we have the conservative at the bottom right there. We do have the semi-aggressive conservative region here. And you can see that the market did actually come back in within this region. This was earlier during the Asian session. Tapped within there, came down. So I guess there are definitely sellers who are sitting within that region who we could potentially end up using, for selling opportunities if the market does come back in within here. But also watch out for this area right here, because Could also find that maybe if the market comes back in within this region here and the sellers are just not able to, push the market lower, it could just tap in within that region, come back to the downside. You could find something like that. So just also make sure that you watch out for this region right here. It's still an area of interest. You can't see that the big sellers who pushed the market down did actually start their move from there. So it means that they're definitely sitting somewhere within this area. So just make sure that you do watch out for that, and also watch out for the red SNR. Fix the market, find its way all the way back within that region. At least you still could look for selling opportunities, but if it does break above, then unfortunately at that point in time, we'll have to fall back. So the next one, this is the Australian dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some sells. Same situation with today, but you can't see that yesterday, this was what the game plan was. Can't see some illustrations of what we're expecting. So either market to come back in within here, which it did not fully come back into that region. And you can't see that the other alternative was to wait and see if we could get the market maybe coming down, reaching this region to the downside. And after that, potentially trying to see whether we could get some sells. So the market broke to the downside, pulled back in within here. And you can see that it did actually hold within there before giving another selling opportunity to come down. But like we always point out, when the market breaks a certain level, make sure that you watch out for the bottommost or the highest part, if it's breaking to the upside where the market gets up until, because that definitely should be the next area where you should be targeting. And you can see that this one was a very good example of that. So the market broke down, pulled back in within here. If you got the sales there, you definitely did need to watch out for this area right here, because you can't even see that the market has pushed back off that region to the upside. So these are the three areas we will be watching out for today. So hopefully you can take note of them. You can see that the buyers have come up, sellers have somehow started to seem like they've come in a bit more aggressive, which is good, and the buyers are slowing down. Let's see if the buyers can really attempt to really push as much as they can back within here before we do get the selling opportunities. At least we do know the best sales could be there, and we can get some very good risk to reward. We get the selling opportunities within there, just targeting within here. In any case, if the market starts to get into a range, it's not yet fully in a range per se, but it seems like it's almost getting into one. You definitely want to be getting your sales definitely at the top of the range. So let's see if that does end up being the case. If the market breaks and holds above here, there's a possibility the buyers could push up, and you could possibly find the sells working off this area much, much later on, maybe during the US session, depending on how the market, sets itself up within that region there. So moving on into the next one, this is the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, this is a new entrant on our watch list. And we will be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities. So these are the three areas that we have mapped out that we will be watching out for. So hopefully you can take note of them. So you can see that the market is coming down, making lower lows and lower highs, which is good. It's just breached this area to the downside, but we'll have to wait and see a bit more of what does happen, especially if the market comes back in within this region. We'll be keen to see if either it is going to hold above this region to the upside. If that does end up being the case, then there's a possibility the market could push higher, maybe back within here. But I mean, if the pullback comes in deeper, then there's a possibility we could get the sells working off this area right here. Alternatively, what we could also wait for is if the market taps back in within here and actually holds to the downside of this area, and we actually visually see, signs of the big sellers showing up and the buyers really struggling, we could attempt a sell. You could target down here, but I don't think you will really be out of the woods just yet until we clear this region to the downside. And I mean, for the guys who are really good at trading, I mean, when the market starts to come down and you get a sell within here, there could be a slight pullback coming back in within this area right here. And if that does end up being the case, at least you could jump in on another sell somewhere within this area right here to possibly end up coming down. So let's see if that ends up being the case. And also watch out for the times. And I mean, like we keep on mentioning, do trade with a stop loss at all times and always stick to your risk, no matter what. No matter how good a setup looks, just make sure that you always stick within your risk parameters. So I guess that's pretty much it in terms of the AUD pairs. So we're going to move on to the NZD pairs now, mix and match them up with everything on the buy side. So we'll start off with the Great British Pound against the New Zealand dollar. So this is a new entrant on our watch list, and we will be attempting to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So these are the three areas that we have mapped out, and hopefully you can take note of them. Let's see what happens. The market has been going up. We just need to see what happens on the pullback. The pullback is starting to come in, although it's not yet a pullback that we can read. We do need to see a bit more, especially when the market taps back in within this area here. So at least if the market taps here, maybe by the time it gets back in within this region, at least we'll get some decent risk to reward. It might not really be the best. It might be a bit of a squeeze, but at least 32 pips is not too bad. Especially if we get a stop loss of maybe 10, 15 pips, really trying to get a 1:2 somewhere within this area here. But of course, if we get the market just coming back in a bit deeper within here, maybe also stopping out quite a number of late buyers, who are jumping into the market right now. Maybe we could get the market coming back within there, but I'm really hoping that it comes back somewhere within these regions here, even if it doesn't come back all the way till the bottom right here. But if it does, the better. If it doesn't, then we'll just have to watch out and see if we could get some buying opportunities, maybe within here. Definitely first problem area will be somewhere within this area, even if we will be targeting maybe higher than this or somewhere within this region. So just make sure that you do watch out for that. Watch out for the times. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the London big boys will give us the pullback, and maybe the US big boys will definitely or hopefully give us the push to the upside. So the next one, this is the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. So for this one, also a new entrant on our watch list. We'll be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities on this one. So hopefully you can take note of these three areas right here. So the market has been coming down. You can see that yesterday during the US session, the market came down, tapped back within this region right here. This was during the Asian session. You can see that the sellers reacted, pushed the market down. So at least we have a hint and we have a clue that sellers are definitely somewhere within this area. So we want to be getting our trades as close as possible within this region. So let's see if we can at least get the market tapping back within here. Maybe give us some sort of a price action signal within there before we look for the selling opportunities, but also watch out for the region at the top. If the pullback needs to come in a bit deeper, then at least we could try see whether we could get some selling opportunities there. But if the pullback doesn't come in, then at least let's wait and see if we can get the breach to the downside. Then if the pullback happens back within here, then at least we can look for the selling opportunities there. Because in any case, looking for the sells down within here might not really be the best of ideas. Considering the fact that the market has come down, the market has pushed back up, maybe this could be a pro, especially if the market holds within here. That should definitely tell us that there are buyers within here. So you don't really want to run the risk of getting stopped out within that region. So it's either the market breaks to the downside, or at least if the buyers do their thing and push the market at least closer to the sellers region. So watch out for that. So the next one, this is the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. So for this one, also a new entrant on our watch list. We will be watching out for sells. So these are the three areas that we will be watching out for. So watch out for those three areas. Hopefully you can take note of them. This one almost does look similar to the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. So the market came down, bounced off here, came up. We definitely know there are some sellers here. And like we always say, buy with buyers, sell with sellers. You definitely want to be getting yourselves closer to the region where we do have the sellers. So let's see if we can also get the pullback coming in on this one. And hopefully there's going to be some good correlation on the NZD pairs. Then we should get that pullback happening on this one, maybe as well as on the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen, and also on the Great British Pound against the New Zealand dollar. When we get the pullbacks happening on all of them, that should be a good sign to tell us that the big boys are actually interested in the NZD pairs. So let's see if we can get this pullback happening. Also watch out, and we will be watching out for this region at the top here. In case the market finds its way there, then we will definitely be also ready for that. But watching out, in case the market breaks and holds above here to the upside, then there'll definitely be no trade for us. But if the buyers really struggle and we can't get them at least coming back within here, well, it could just attempt some selling opportunities within here, but you have to really be a key sniper on the charts, let me put it that way, because your stop losses will also have to be very tight for you to get a decent risk to reward coming down here. But at least if you do wait for the market to break to the downside and possibly hold, then at least you could get some conservative selling opportunities to the downside, which might be a bit less problematic than actually looking for the selling opportunities anywhere within this region right here. So just make sure that you watch out for that. So last but not least, for the NZD pairs, we do have the New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, yesterday, we're trying to see whether we could get some buying opportunities. So you can see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out. In the morning, price was here. We're expecting to see the market lift. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that. The market came to the downside, maybe attempting to look for buyers within these areas here. And you can see that the market came down, slowed down within here. And for the market picked up to the upside, but unfortunately, we just couldn't get a proper hold within this area to the upside for us to look for proper buying opportunities. And you can see that the sellers came down. And today, the market has continued to come to the downside. So for this one, we're going to be going the other way. So we will be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities. So hopefully you can take note of these three areas right here. So right now we have the pullback happening. Let's see if at least we could get the market slowing down within this area. At least we do know that the market could potentially be coming back in for some sort of a retest back within this area. It broke with the downside. We'll be very keen to see what happens within this area. And I think we could get some very good selling opportunities off this area, possibly coming down back within this region here. So let's wait and see what happens. But I think this one is not a very bad one. But like I'm pointing out, make sure that you watch out for correlation. I mean, the pullbacks are happening on the NZDs across the board. Try and see if you see a move starting to happen on one, is that something that's also going to be happening and something that's going to be replicated on the others. And that should definitely give you that much more confidence, jumping in onto any NZD pair. So last but not least, we're going to move on to the Euro set of currency pairs. So we'll start off with the Euro against the Great British Pound. So for this one, this is a new entrant on our watch list, and we will be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities. So these are the three areas we've mapped out. Maybe I can bring this one a bit lower, maybe somewhere within here. So watch out for these three areas right here. So aggressive right at the top, semi-aggressive, conservative here, and conservative definitely at the bottom right here. In terms of selling opportunities right now, not really the best. You can see that the market has come down. It's found a region of support within this area. And lots of people, and let me put it this way, millions of traders across the globe are definitely looking to see whether they can get some selling opportunities on this one. And of course, there will be a number of breakout traders who will be waiting to see the market break to the downside. So when the market does that, definitely a lot of people are going to be jumping in on sells, but it's always best to wait and see if you can get the market at least fast coming back in within this area here before you do actually look for the sells here, as opposed to trying your selling opportunities on this leg. You're better off trying on the next leg, when the market actually gives you that much more proof that it's actually holding to the downside of this area. So watch out for that, because alternatively, what could happen is the market could come down, come back up. Then if the market probes to the downside and comes back in and holds within here, then there's definitely a good probability that price will be coming back within this area. And you could find that maybe during the US session, the market could be giving us some very good selling opportunities off this area right here. It's not uncommon. I mean, it's things that we've seen on the charts over and over again. So it's either the market could be back within here at around 5:30, or somewhere within here for a proper sell. So we do need to give the market a bit of time to actually set itself up on that one, but also watch out for the region at the top. The price can also come back in within there. There's a slight chance it can, considering how far it is, but like we always say, this is FX, anything is possible. And if the market finds its way all the way back till within that region, then at least you should also be ready for that. So moving on into the next one, this is the Euro against the Japanese yen. So for this one, new entrant on our watch list, almost similar to the rest of the yens that we've seen, the market coming down, bouncing off a certain region, starting to seem like some sort of a range is happening. So we'll be waiting to see what happens, at least if we can get the price tapping back within this area here. This is a region of interest, especially considering the fact that the market broke to the downside, didn't have a proper retest of that area. We're really thinking there's a possibility price could just tap in within that area there before we get the proper selling opportunities. But you still can see that the sales are also still happening off this area here, though not really the big sales. So I'm thinking maybe a deeper pullback might be needed before the big sellers who showed up yesterday during the US session possibly end up showing up again. So watch out for that. Also watch out for the region at the top right here. It's a bit of a long shot, but at least, like we always say, it's better to have something and not need it rather than need something and not have it. So it doesn't really hurt to end up having that level at the top right there, just waiting to see what does end up happening. So moving on into the next one, this is the Euro against the Swiss franc. So for this one, also a new entrant on our watch list. We'll be watching out to see whether we can get some selling opportunities. So these are the three areas that we will be keeping our eyes locked on. So you can't see a pullback is happening, and the pullback is coming in nice and easy, nice and slow, which is what we like to see. But you can't see the sequence of higher highs and higher lows, which is good. So hopefully, as the bars are coming up within here, the sellers will really start to show up. And if we get the market possibly attempting to break to the upside or tapping within this region, watching out for the times, I think we could get a very, very good selling opportunity somewhere within this area to come down. So let's wait and see what happens on this one. But it's also not looking too bad, especially considering the fact that the sellers came down quite aggressively yesterday. And if you look at the retaliation of the buyers, they're taking so long, to undo what the sellers did, which is a very good sign. So we just need to be a bit patient. The market also seems to be in some sort of a range. So in terms of market structure, definitely the best selling opportunities are definitely somewhere within that area there. So watch out for that. Let's see what happens. But I think that one definitely among the ones that are going to be top of my list for today. So last but not least, for the currency pairs, we do have the euro against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, yesterday we were trying to see whether we could get some buying opportunities. You can't see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out. So in the morning, price was somewhere here. We're expecting maybe price to break above here or above this region to the upside, get a proper hold, and maybe look for some more conservative buying opportunities. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. You can see that the struggle really ensued within this region right here. The sellers were really giving the buyers issues, and the buyers had really stepped up, within that area. Quite aggressively, because if you look at the pullbacks that were coming in as the market was coming in within here, there were quite shallow pullbacks. So the sellers at least were able to contain the buyers within here. The buyers attempted to break above here quite aggressively, but you can see that the sellers in retaliation came in very, very aggressively, and right now the market is holding within this area. So for this one, in terms of the buys yesterday, they were not very clear. In fact, I can't say that there was any opportunity or proper opportunity for a buy yesterday. And of course, moving into today, we're going to be going the other way. So we're not going to be looking for buys. We will be looking for selling opportunities. The sellers have showed up quite aggressive within this region right here. You can see that the market even tapped in within here. You can see some sort of a weak, some sort of rejection sign within there, which tells us that there are definitely sellers within there. So we want to be getting ourselves as close as possible within that region. Hopefully, the buyers can really struggle and push the market as close as possible within here. I think we could get some very good selling opportunities. And hopefully, if these big sellers who showed up within this area actually do show up, potentially we could get the market coming back, within this region right here. So just make sure you watch out for that. But regardless of where you will be targeting, especially all the way down here, or even all the way, even past your screens and beneath your tables and your floors, it doesn't really matter. You will still need to watch out for this region right here, because in case the market comes back within here, there's a possibility the market could start to range within here. It's not a very clear range, but definitely you can't see that the buyers pushed up from here, came up. The market came down quite aggressively, and the buyers were still able to push the market or push the sellers back off this region right here. So you definitely will need to watch out for that region right there. So watch out for that, but also watch out for the red SNR. Anything past that, I guess that currency pair, or this currency pair, does actually fall off our watch list unless the market comes back to the downside of that red SNR right there. So I guess that's pretty much it in terms of all the currency pairs. So hopefully you've taken note of that. So we're going to be moving on to the indices and the commodities. Can't say that there isn't much of a change on that front. So we'll start off with the NAS 100. So for this one, yesterday we're trying to see whether we could get some selling opportunities. So you can't see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out, which are the similar, same areas that we're going to be having today. And a game plan of what to expect yesterday. So we're expecting either price to come back in somewhere as close as possible within here for us to look for the sells, read that slowdown and everything. But you can't see that the market bounced off this area, came in, slowed down within this region, and then the sellers just showed up out of nowhere. So I'm not quite sure whether it was somewhere within this region that the sellers possibly needed, but you can see that there was some sort of an aggression of the sellers to push the market to the downside. Market pulled back in within this region, but it's like they disappeared after this move coming down. So let's wait and see if they do show up once again. But I'm thinking these sellers right here are definitely these same sellers, these big sellers who had showed up the day before. So let's hope today potentially they will be showing up. So these are the same three areas that we had yesterday. Let's wait and see what does end up happening. But you can't see that the buyers are also starting to show up or show their aggression within there, but we'll be waiting to see if the the sellers can actually shut them down. Maybe attempts of the buyers to push up higher than that, which end up being unsuccessful. Then I think at that point in time, we could try and see whether we could get some selling opportunities, somewhere within this region to come down. Definitely watch out for this region here. But I can also point out that you will need to definitely watch out for this area coming down. And as much as you could target down here, there's a possibility price can also get caught up, or you could easily end up getting caught up somewhere within this region, and you could find the market maybe bouncing off that region to the upside. But at least the good thing about it is by the time price gets down here from here, at least you'll be in some very, very good profits. I mean, if you look at, this distance right here, it's not very far from, this region right here that you're targeting at the bottom. So you definitely will be in some good profits. At least the next problem here is a bit of a long shot or a bit of a distance far away. So watch out for that. Also watch out for that red SNR. There's a possibility price can come back in all the way till within that region. But at least even if it does, we'll still be watching out to see whether we could get some selling opportunities for as long as we're holding beneath that region to the downside. If it breaks and holds above that area, then at least we can try to see whether we could get some buying opportunities. So the next one, this is the Dow Jones. So for this one yesterday, I tried to see whether we could get some selling opportunities. So you can see the three areas that Mitch had pointed out, and also an illustration of what to expect. So in the morning, price was here. We're expecting price to tap back in within this region here, and maybe, closer to the market opening times, or of course during the US session, because that's when the indices and the commodities tend to move a lot, maybe get some action coming in. And you can see that at 4 or at 5:30 rather, price was somewhere within here, which was some region of support. Of course, wasn't the best year to look for the selling opportunities. The market came back in, tapped within this area right here. And I guess this was some sort of an incitement before the sellers really did end up showing up. And you can see that they came in, market crashed all the way from there coming down, couldn't even pull back in within this region right here, because maybe you could have expected the price to possibly pull back in within that region. So for this one, the sales did work out pretty well, although it was also a bit of a tricky situation in terms of grabbing the sales, because there wasn't much of a slowdown. The market just tapped there and then came down. But let's see what happens today. So the market has tapped in within here. Some pullback is coming in. We're expecting maybe to get the market coming back in somewhere within this region here. I mean, even if it doesn't come back in all the way to within this area, I think this is also still a region of interest. And we could find some sort of a retest, of the market just tapping within that area there to get some proper sales. So watch out for that. But of course, the higher, the better in terms of risk to reward, the better for us. But I'm thinking that there's a possibility price could just tap in within that region. Also watch out for the region at the top. It's a bit of a long shot, but of course, in case the market finds its way back within there, potentially we could get some selling opportunities of that area right there as well. But remembering that in case the market breaks and holds above that region to the upside, unfortunately, there will be no trade for us. So moving on into the next one, which is silver. So for silver, yesterday the bus was to try to see whether we could get sales. Similar situation with today. Can't see what the game plan was yesterday that Mitch had laid out. And in the morning, price was here. It was either price to come back in within this region for us to get the sales, or maybe the market to calm down and potentially break beneath this region to get some more conservative selling opportunities. But there was a buyer's region within here that was really giving the sellers issues. So you can see that the market came up. Then after that, the sellers attempted to calm down. And this was during the London market open or thereabout. Price came down. Unfortunately, at 4, price was back within a region of support. But around 5:30, and you can see that the buyers pushed the market back up. Price came back in within here. The sellers still managed to somehow contain the buyers who are coming up within there, although the buyers stepped up within this region quite aggressively. So let's see today if the sellers are really gonna show up and push the market to the downside like we want to see. But right now, looking at the way the market is behaving, and you can see that within this region right here, the buyers are still pushing up quite aggressive. I mean, if you are to zoom in a bit more into what's happening, if you look at the number of candles coming down and the number of candles coming up, definitely tells us that the buyers are definitely still within this region. And that tells us that, of course, this being some sort of a range that's also starting to happen off this area right here coming down to within here. You don't really want to be getting your selling opportunities too close within this region. So let's just hope the buyers can potentially end up pushing the market up and hopefully end up slowing down as they come up and the big sellers start to show up for us to look for a selling opportunity somewhere closer to here. So let's watch out for that. the market breaks and holds above here, then I guess you could find the buyers potentially pushing the market up higher. Maybe they might need somewhere within this region right here, or the price is higher up for them to actually end up activating the selling opportunities, the big boys rather. So just make sure that you watch out for that and also watch out for the times. So let's see what happens on this one. Of course, if you get the sales there, watch out for this area right here. Like I'm pointing out, it's in a range. So in as much as you could be targeting here, if you mismanage the situation and the market comes in within that bottom of the range, you could easily be heartbroken. You could easily get taken back all the way to square one. So just make sure that you watch out for that right there. And of course, you know, because I'm pointing out that you could find some pullbacks coming in on the indices and the commodities. I mean, we're looking for sales across the board, but if you're able to read the pullbacks and you can get in on some small buying opportunities, it's okay. But just make sure that you're well aware that the buying opportunities that you're taking are counters. So don't really try and go too far with them, because the sellers can easily show up at any given point in time without any warning, because generally the sellers are still in control. So last but not least, we do have gold. So for gold, yesterday the back was to try to see whether we could get some selling opportunities as well. So you can't see the 3 areas that Mitch had pointed out. So in the morning, price was somewhere within here. We're expecting maybe some pullback, maybe to come back in within here for us to get the sales of this area right here, or potentially the market attempting to come back in within this region for us to get some proper selling opportunities. Unfortunately, that option did not happen, but this one did. You can see that the market really held within this region right here, attempted to go up, came back in, held within here. And what do you know? If you look at the times, you know, like keep on pointing out at exactly 4, the sellers showed up, the market came down, tapped within here. But like we always point out, you always need to be on top of things in terms of money management, because sometimes the market just gives you one chance to manage at a particular level. And after that, if you mismanage or if you don't manage and take action, it's game over for you. So you can see, like for this one, the market came down, tapped within here. If you're still a bit wishy-washy, you're not too sure, should I manage, should I not? Next thing, price is already back at your entry. And that has happened even to us sometimes. You know, sometimes you get excited with the money that's there and you're thinking, should I hang on? Maybe I can make 3 times more. The sellers seem like they've come in aggressive within a particular region. I think we're going to continue moving down low. Don't let your mind, you know, play games with you. If you're supposed to manage at a particular level, make sure you do. So you can see this one bounced off here. In as much as the sellers came down aggressive, the buyers also showed up quite aggressively within that region. And you can see that the market actually got back within this region right here. So for this one for today, you can already see what has happened. During the Asian session, the Asian big boys have pushed the market down, which is okay. Also does seem like the market could be getting into some sort of a range within this area here. It's not fully confirmed, but somehow it looks like it's getting into some sort of a range. So we will either be waiting to see whether we could get the market potentially breaking beneath this region to the downside. Maybe we get some sort of a hold, because we do need that confirmation of the breach of structure. For as long as we're within the range, we definitely don't want to be getting any sales at the bottom of the range. But at least if we do breach to the downside and we're out of the range, get that pullback coming in, maybe even some attempts of the buyers to push the market back into the range, which end up being unsuccessful and we get a hold. At that point in time, I think we can get some very good selling opportunities off there to possibly come down. So watch out for that. But as far as we're concerned, I think there's also a very good possibility the London session could push the market back up. And I don't think it will be very uncommon to find the market back up higher, you know, somewhere within either this region or somewhere within here during the US session for us to get a proper selling opportunity. So the Asian big boys push the market down. Maybe the London big boys might push it up. Then the US big boys might push it down once again. So let's wait and see what ends up happening on this one. But also watch out for the red SNR at the top. In case the market finds its way back within that region there, then at least we could potentially still get some aggressive sells. But if it breaks and holds above that, then unfortunately, there will be no selling opportunities, but at least we can start to look for buying opportunities. So I guess that's pretty much it in terms of everything. So hopefully you guys have taken note of everything we've discussed here. So let me try see whether I can access a couple of questions on the chat box. I had a bit of an issue earlier trying to access it. Let me see if I will be successful this time around. So unfortunately, not really able to see all the questions, but I can see a couple. I see AI music. You're saying morning, John and Afriforex team. Morning back to you. AI music, but I'd also love to know who your name is. I see Lyle. Good to see you there asking. US 30 and NAS 100 may move higher given the recent NVIDIA earning reports. We'll have to wait and see, to be honest, but that's an interesting and a valid point that you're bringing in. We could potentially end up seeing that. But the good thing about the NAS and the US start, the way us guys normally look at it, basically is we just follow the story of what the charts are telling us. We don't really end up paying much attention in terms of the fundamentals and what news events are there. For us on these ones, one thing we've come to realize based on our analysis, based on the back testing that we've done on this one, and how much we've read these things. One thing we've seen is that for as long as sellers are in control, the market, ideally, we should be looking to see whether we could get selling opportunities. If the buyers are in control, then we should be trying to see whether we could get buying opportunities. So you can't see, like, the way us guys are looking at it is that for as long as we're holding, and this seller, we're holding beneath this region, we know that this seller is generally in control. So you'll find that the sellers will have an easier time compared to the buys. But I mean, if the NVIDIA reports are going to change things, it's okay. Because for us, if the market breaks and holds above this area to the upside, if that ends up being because of the NVIDIA reports, then it's fine. At least at that point in time, even technically speaking, we'll definitely start to try and see whether we can get the buying opportunities. Because everything that happens on the fundamentals, or everything that affects currency pairs and everything that happens on the Forex market, the charts are a clear representation of that. So if that, whether being NVIDIA reports or whatever, that representation now starts to happen on the charts, and we see the buyers coming in and the sellers are taken out, definitely at that point in time, we'll start to definitely try to see whether we could get buying opportunities. But one thing that we've learned over the years is, and I speak this personally, we don't really end up taking much in terms of speculation. What guys end up saying, yeah, this might do this and that. There's a common saying, I think buy the rumors, sell the news, or something like that. But you see, in the Forex market, what normally happens is a lot of news that guys actually end up hearing out there, or a certain thing is going to a certain price, doesn't end up working out as quickly as many people think. So we'll definitely have to wait and see, but definitely a valid point that Lyle, you're bringing in. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for being here. So I see music, you're saying Tony Duck. All right, Tony, good to see you here. Saying, personally, I appreciate everything the team does on a regular basis. It helps me grow a lot. Slow motion is better than no motion. That's very, very true. At least if you're making 1% improvement on your trading or in everything else that you're doing every day, then you're definitely doing something, and you just need to keep on moving. So thank you so much for that, Tony. So I guess that's pretty much it from me and from us. I want to thank you guys so much for making the time to be here with us. Like I always mention, I know you're busy people, got lots of things to do out there, but you make the time to be here with us each and every morning, even for the guys who are going to be watching the recording much later on. Of course, just taking that time. And I hope that you do end up achieving a lot in terms of your trading. Trading is not easy, like we always keep on pointing out, but you have to keep on fighting. Some of us have been on this game for quite a bit. This is my 16th year now. And we're still pushing, we're still fighting, we're learning more and more things, new and new things. So keep pushing, keep fighting. It's not easy, but definitely it is doable. So I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. So with that, happy trading. And bye for now. May the peace be with you. God bless.